Hi all, a very warm welcome to Simrun Chopra. She's a deep health coach, nutritionist, and founder of Nourish with Sim, her online training and nutrition program. She believes in setting realistic eating and exercise habits to create a balanced health approach and follows the principle of mindful eating as well as sustainable lifestyle. So, Simran, I want to begin with asking you, how did your journey with fitness begin in the first place?
Thank you for having me here. Um, I think I have a very long and complicated story and a complicated history with fitness. Um, in school, loved doing all my extracurriculars, but as you know, once most of us leave school and most of us move forward, right, into lives and jobs and get married, somehow all this takes a back seat, and no one ever really taught us the importance of any of it. That's exactly what happened to me. Um, and I had a lot of trouble having a baby. A lot of people know this story. I was dealing with PCOS. I had no idea how to deal with it. I eventually managed to get pregnant, have a baby, and I had a really, really hard pregnancy. And um, usually at 24 weeks, you are checked for something called a glucose tolerance test, which checks if you have gestational diabetes. But I got it much earlier on, I think at about 18 weeks. So basically, I had to eat like a diabetic throughout my pregnancy. And as mothers, I can tell you that you get this power that you can do anything, right? There is no motivation needed, nothing. So I ate fine. I was told to walk. I had to check my blood sugar like after every meal. So I was pricking myself after every single meal. I was doing all this. But as soon as he was born, all that pent up months of control, right, just disappeared. And I remember I was at that point where I would eat like a loaf of like a masala bread for a snack, or a loaf of like a vanilla sponge cake as a snack, right? So I went like this extreme, but just the other extreme, till the point that one day I was lifting my son off the bed, and as I stood up and I picked him up, he was 3 months old. There was this sort of searing pain through my body, and I just dropped him, luckily, on the bed, and I couldn't move. And that sort of was that turning point for me that started like the escalation of the problem. So the human body is great, right? It manages till it says done. And that was sort of my done day. I remember I couldn't walk. For the next 4 weeks, I was crawling around the house because I was a lactating mother. They couldn't give me certain medication. I needed help to even go to the restroom. And as you can imagine, we still do nothing, right? You just wait it out. And I waited it out. And this happened to me again and again till my baby was about, I think, 10 months old. And I couldn't walk again. So at that point, I had to be hospitalized, and the doctors were like, they did scans, tests, and I realized I had a bulged disc, a degenerated disc. I had cervical spondylitis. This was also because I had put on nearly 25 kilos from all those cakes and bread and
Mhm.
everything. Right? So it sort of everything was adding up.
Mhm.
And at that point, everything was just about being able to walk and move pain free. Because I had reached that point that I could not go for a dinner and sit because I wouldn't be able to stand up. I couldn't go for a movie. I couldn't go for a drive. Like just the normal functioning was ruined. And it's sad that I let myself get to that point, but sometimes you need that reality check, right? Um, and that's where it started. And my entire goal then was, it wasn't even to lose those 25 kilos, it was just to be able to function pain free, to like be able to lift my son and not have the fear that I'll drop him, to be able to
Right.
go for a movie or go for a family dinner. It started with that simple need of just being pain free and having like a regular life. Because if that's what's happening to you at 30, 32, I was like, what is going to happen to me at 60? I'm going to need a
Mm.
wheelchair. And those are the things that sort of scared me, right? Like they
Mm.
petrified me. And that's where I sort of started. And
Right.
and in 3 months, I had like there was no pain. I had no back pains. I was lifting heavy. In 5 months, I'd lost all my weight. I'd lost like 25 kilos. I went to a mall and did a rock climbing wall as well. So from not being able to go for a movie and not being able to lift my child to climbing that, I think that was like that defining moment that day when I climbed that wall that told me that, hey, this is more than about the weight. This is more than
Right, right,
about, oh, I have to exercise. This is about sort of
right, right,
being free, reaching your
right.
potential, proving to yourself that, dude, I can do things that I did not think I could do. Mm.
Mm-hmm. And may I know how many years ago was this when you decided to?
This was the end of 2014 when I started out.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So I'm sure over the years you must have tried a lot of different fitness regimes and shifted from one thing to another. So today, what does your fitness regime look like?
So that's the thing. I have not tried different fitness regimes. So this is
Oh.
something that people need to sort of understand. It's a bit like this. Now, if you think of Michael Phelps, right?
Mm,
Michael Phelps is doing the same drills over and over and over and over again till he gets better
mm,
at it, right? Like any athlete. So he's not doing like swimming drills one day and then going doing marathon drills the next day, right? And Usain Bolt isn't doing swimming drills, right? He's doing his drills. So, and progress
mm,
comes with repetition and progress comes with strengthening things. So I have not tried many things. My objective was very simple in the beginning, was to get rid of my pain, and I have stuck to that. So the formula of which is this universal formula for the human body is, one is to build strength. The better and more functional and stronger your skeletal muscle mass is, and people think muscle, but it's skeletal muscle, right? My muscle
mm,
allows me to turn my hand pain free. My muscle allows me to, let's say, lift a cup. Now, as it gets stronger, instead of a cup, I can lift things that are heavier. That's the only difference, right? But it is still the muscle that allows us to move. And so we look at building muscle and retaining good muscle mass with like range of movement. And the other one is cardiovascular health, which comes from endurance training, which is cardiovascular health as in cardio, which people refer to, right?
mm,
Which means running, walking, jogging, swimming. It can be anything that challenges your heart and makes it fitter and better. Now, these things together sort of lay the foundation for better health and longevity of life. Okay, so there's a
mm,
solution for multiple things. Now we think of this as exercise regime, but our parents were doing this anyway. If we are from an agricultural background, we had people going out into the field, working the whole day, lifting a sack of things, right? Even putting it on a tractor, anything. That's all strength training. You need strength to do it. So my regime has stayed the same in terms of, I have strength training days, three of them, and I have three cardio days that are built in to focus on this. And as you progress, it's a bit like math. When you start out, you start with, like, my son started with a number line, 0, 1, 2,
mm,
where they fall on a line, and then you go to addition, then he went to subtraction, and then multiplication, division. So you can't, what a lot of people think when changing regimes is, you don't know how to do addition and you're trying calculus and a little bit of trigonometry and a little bit of algebra. No, there's a certain set of progression that must be followed, and that is where you can do it injury free and see great progress over time. Because if you think about it, our lives have evolved, right? We have gone
mm,
from like bullock carts to like going into space in a span of less than 100 years.
mm,
um, but the human body didn't change. Tech changed, the world around us changed, but
mm,
the human body is the same. Correct? Because as a species, every species evolves slowly, and that is why change is slow. So it's doing the same thing over and over again with variations, but the regimes don't change.
mm. Got it, got it. So this reminds me, you also have your own fitness institution, Nourish with Sim,
Nourish
right?
with them.
Yeah, yeah. So could you tell us a bit about this? How did that start? And how important is that for you as a project?
So, in terms of importance, it means literally everything to me, because when I started out, people would ask, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I would post it on Instagram. That's how I sort of started. And there was this lady, and she said, I have no money, this, that. And I had not started my programs then. And she was doing some sort of keto from YouTube. Okay. And she
Mm.
kept messaging me every day, okay, I'm eating this. And it was months and months. And I was like, you should stop. You should stop. But I didn't have like a daily solution to give her. I didn't have like a path that she could
Mm.
follow. Right. And then one day I get a message from her husband saying that, oh, she has biopalsy. And I was like, so that basically half her face and one side of her body got paralyzed. Right. And the doctor said it had something to do with a change in her neurological health, and it could have been from what she was doing because it was too extreme. um, she's not getting the right nutrients, whatever. But the fact is that that lack of quality available solution led this woman to take extreme measures that landed her up in a much worse state. She was
Mm.
focusing on her scale where she gave up something much larger. And I think that was a huge turning point for
Mm.
me, because I was like, it need health, quality health and fitness advice needs to be available to people irrespective of their socioeconomic groups, right? And it needs to be
Mm.
available to them to make real difference to their lives. And that's how we started sort of Nourish with Sim. So over time now, we have worked with over 25,000 people. We have like a team of 40 nutritionists. We work with people, mostly Indians, but we work with people in over 160 countries now. But the ethos has remained the same. And our ethos has
Mm.
always been, that a person must make progress, and it's a real
Mhm.
person. And we must look at them beyond that
Right.
scale, and we must let them see that health goes beyond a number on the scale, right? So it's very, very close to my heart,
Mhm.
because that is sort of my vision. That I don't think I'm a health coach or a deep health coach. I would say I'm a visionary, that I want to make sure that especially Indian women who don't have like a lot of the resources that they think that like we assume they do, right? They don't may not
Mm.
financially independent, they are dependent on other people. I want to make sure these women feel good about themselves. I don't want to make sure, and good means internally, physically, mentally, and that is health. You can have
Right.
six pack abs, and if you're cranky whole day, or you have anxiety, or you're like fighting with people all the time, that's not health.
Mhm.
That is like my vision. How do I make people feel good about themselves and give them a better quality of life? And this is a struggle, but I'm getting there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
See, that's actually a really good point because as important as physical health is, just important is your mental health. So, see, personally, how do you take care of your mental health? How do you nurture your mind?
So the thing is that we look at it a little bit in a bigger sense. It's called biosocial psycho, which when you look at biology, which is your physical self, you look at your mental health, and you look at your social health, which is how you are in your environment. Again,
Mm.
people think that you're looking at mental health. A lot of people look okay on the outside, or are okay on the outside, but it is their environment and how they are with the people around them, or where they are, that drives them to something else.
Mm.
A lot of time I saying fix the mental health, but the problem might not be that. The problem might be your surroundings, what we call
Mm.
socio, so biopsychosocial, and that's what we look at, because sometimes your environment can be extremely toxic as well. So it comes to my mental health. I mean, um, I put up the story today itself that said that an affirmation that I will love myself, and I think a lot of it comes down to understanding that you are a priority to yourself. Like, I am a priority
Mm.
to me. And I think when you keep focusing on that, you will do what needs to be done to get better. Because
Mm.
mental health is something that, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I know that mental health is something that we need to work on every day, because our lifestyles are such that we are bombarded with stress. It's a little bit like one of those
Mm.
sci-fi movies where these people, like that thing of Wonder Woman, when she's running through that scene and she is that like bouncing off bullets. That's what stress is like now, right? It is coming at you
Yeah.
from your smile, I can see it. It's coming at you from every angle, right? In every way. And the idea is understanding that it is going to keep coming. It's very difficult to
Mm.
change other people, but how do we protect ourselves? And I think when you tell yourself, for me at least, I am a priority. I will make
Mm.
myself a priority. I will love myself. Automatically, you do a lot of things in the right way, which means that if you feel like you need therapy, you will go for therapy. If you feel like you need to cut someone off, you will cut them off. If you feel like someone is pushing you too much, you will tell them off, because you will be like, I am a priority, and you have to remind yourself. So I think that's what I do. That's what we try to promote. We do a
Mm.
lot of stuff on our programs for mental health, to sort of give people tools. But obviously, I'm not a replacement for a psychologist, but that's sort of my outlook, that it's going to keep coming at us. So all you can do is
Mhm.
focus on being prepared and just power going through. Keep like
Right,
bouncing those off.
right, right.
Yeah.
It's like you realize your self-worth, and then suddenly you just start looking for ways to nurture that self-worth. It's about accepting that in the beginning.
Yeah, and not, yeah, you have
Yeah.
to. I think it's also about valuing your self worth, or valuing
Mm.
yourself, because I think,
Yeah.
especially as women in India, you will see, I see it all the time where women will say, I have to do this for my husband, I have to cook for my husband, or I have to cook for my
Mm.
child, I have to do this, I have to do that. Like, they will forget to, let's say, go for an appointment, a dental health, or a
Mm.
scan, but nobody ever forgets to give their child tiffin. Not that
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
right. Why are you not making yourself a priority? Because, and I try to put this out as much, because especially as a woman or a mother, or even if you have a family, this the fruit can only be as healthy as the tree,
Mm.
right? If
Agreed.
you're not in the right sense, eventually it will show, right? And
Mm.
get people to understand that I have to first value myself to value others. It's exactly like when you get on an aeroplane, right? They say put on your
Mm.
mask first before helping someone else.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the same,
Exactly.
but we keep forgetting to put on that mask ourselves first. We're always like putting
Mm.
everyone, and I'm sure you will do it as well. No, I have to get this done. I have to do this for work. No, I
Mm.
have to do that at the expense of your mental health, or expense of your
Health,
physical
yeah.
health, or at just, let's just say, at your own expense. And I think it's
Mm.
not selfish, it's called self-preservation and self-care. Like, because when you thrive,
Mm.
the surroundings will thrive. And I think that is the distinction we need to sort of start making, that,
Mm.
you need to thrive first.
Right, yeah. Agreed. Yes. Awesome. So, what would you say is your wellness philosophy?
Ooh, I think my wellness, again, my philosophy is about making sure that you are healthy in multiple ways, which, like I said, like,
Mm.
physically, mentally, and your environment, and taking that one day at
Mm.
a time. So it is not about getting that six pack abs. It's not about only eating organic or not eating something. It is about just being healthy and happy in your life, and everything that leads to it, which means that you should be able to go out and eat, with your friends freely, without having like a panic attack of, oh my god, what am I eating, right? So my wellness
Mm.
philosophy would be to focus on myself, and how do I help myself thrive, not survive.
Mm.
Because when I focus
Mm.
on something like that, because if you say, if I focus on, I want to reach this weight, I'm not focusing on
Mm.
everything. When I say I want to focus on how do I thrive, not
Mm.
survive, it will cover everything. For me to thrive, my
Mm.
health needs to be in place, physical, mental, right? My environment. Do I need to upskill? Do I need to move out of a certain space? It covers everything. So that is my
Mm.
personal wellness philosophy, that we need to look at ourselves and say, how do I thrive?
Mm. Nice. So, just to sidetrack a bit from wellness, are you big on traveling and all that?
I love traveling. I mean, obviously, in the last
Okay.
2 years has not been great, but my husband and I have this thing that we would save up to do one nice international trip a year, and do these
Mm-hmm.
little Indian holidays through the year as well. So yes, I love
Uh-huh.
traveling, and we have this going score of how many countries we have both done. He's ahead of me
Oh.
at the moment, but yes, I love traveling.
Uh, so you have a bucket list of destinations you'd like to visit?
I would like to visit everything, but yes, I do. I have some that I write on the top of my list with a little bit extreme, which I'm still trying to convince
Uh,
people to go on with me. But yeah, I do.
all right. So, what would be the top three destinations on your list right now?
Ooh, I want to go to the North Pole. So
Mm.
I want to go to like Iceland and then go out on that boat, see that. I
Mm.
want to go to Antarctica. That's huge
Mhm.
on my list. And I want to go to the Amazon, mostly because I feel like these three things might disappear if I keep waiting. So these are the ones that I want
Ah.
to do first. I'm like, I want to see these. I mean, before they might be gone. So these are my top
Mhm.
three. But as you can imagine, a lot of people don't want to come with me on these trips. Like North Pole, South
Yeah.
Pole, Amazon. They're like, no, we
Yeah.
can't go to Thailand. I'm like, no, no.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
hard
yeah,
to plan it accordingly.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
said.
Totally get that. So,
Yeah.
how do you like to, apart from traveling and this wellness, how do you like to unwind and just relax?
For me, so I have this sort of routine and I have built it taking into an account my environment. So once I go home from work, I have this everything at work must be left at work. And then you enter this
Mm.
space sort of clean, like a clean slate. And for me, unwinding
Mm.
a lot comes there as well. I like to play a game with my
Mm.
son. Whatever he wants
Mm.
to play, it can be a board game. And otherwise, right now, he likes to play Wordle with me. We're supposed to be a team, playing Wordle. But it's about spending time with him, like quality time, but that is screen free. I love reading and I love sleeping. I'm a very lazy person. Yeah, but it is more about spending time with people, I think, than really sort of doing anything. So it'll be anything that gets me to spend quality time with people.
Ah, I see. Yeah. So, do you have any diet or food secrets as well? Because I can see you have wonderful skin. You're like glowing right now. So, I
Thank
really
you
want
so
to
much.
ask
I
you
put
that.
it all on my Instagram. Like, I don't know. I feel like my team keeps telling me every time they read a
Mm.
post, I'm like, why would you put that on Instagram and give it out for free? I was like, but I thought, no, no, I don't have any like real secrets. I think it comes down to that when you say, how do I thrive, right? You start focusing on many things. And when you think
Mm.
something's not working, you're saying, okay, what am I doing wrong? And I do have focus on it. But I think some of the philosophies that I really live by are that drink enough water. I'm very big on having a plant dominant diet. Not that you have to be a vegetarian or non vegetarian, but a plant dominant diet, which means that you eat vegetables and fruits every day, and a variety of
Mm.
them, which makes a huge difference. And if you start just that, automatically you'll see a huge difference in your skin, hair, everything. And the most underrated one that nobody likes to follow is sleep. Yeah, I'm very, very
Mm.
particular about my
Yeah.
sleep, and I'm just like, so I will give up. I'm willing to give up Netflix, TV, anything because I will be in bed at a certain time. But I will not
Mm.
compromise on my sleep. But that's something that people really don't focus on. So those are like sort of the
Mm.
foundation starting places because everybody wants to know, like, is there something else? But it's a bit like if your foundation is not in place, you can't really paint your house, right? So one you can keep building on
Mm.
it. So it is the
Yeah, yeah.
smallest ones to start with.
How do you stay motivated every day? Because there's so much that you're doing. And I mean, there's always something or the other going on, and you're a mother as well. So,
Yeah.
how do you, keep yourself motivated, get up and just do it every day? How do you do it?
So I say this all the time, even on my social media, that I don't rely on motivation at all. I don't believe in
Mm.
motivation at all because motivation is so fleeting.
Mm.
Like you asked me, when did I start? I started in the end of 2014. We are in 22. There is no way to
Mm.
stay motivated every single day, night, given every circumstances, COVID, everything. There's no way to do this over and over and over again for years, right? And expect there to be motivation
Mm.
every day. So motivation is like your fair weather friend. It's there once in a while, but if you start depending on it, you get nowhere. It's a bit like building habits. Are you motivated to brush your teeth every day? Are you motivated to have a shower every day? Are you motivated to go to work every day? No, maybe
Mm.
not, but you're going to just do it because these are things that you
Mm.
just do. You just tell yourself,
Do.
these are things that I just do. This is part of my life. And once you decide what that is, you don't need motivation. Like a mother, no matter how tired a mother is, she's not going to be like, I'm not motivated to give my child a tiffin box today, right? It's just something I do. Or you just
Yeah.
have to show up at work whether you're motivated or not. You will show up being like, I really don't want to go, but you will show up. Correct.
Show up. Yeah.
You will go for your exam. You don't want to study, but you will study to give that exam. Because you're nobody's motivated to give an exam. I've not met this person yet. Right. And if I did, I would run. But you know what I mean? Like you don't. There are
Yeah.
things that sometimes you just have to realize that if I want to get somewhere, these are the things that I need to do, and these are the non-negotiables. And then you just
Mm.
have to do them. It's a bit, to me, it is a little bit about who you are, like the person you identify with, like an identity. Like, for example, for me, that's integrity. It's about I doing what I say I will do, even when it's not convenient. If I've said I'm going to do it, I'll do it, even though it's not convenient. And this is why people think it's motivation for fitness. It's not. It's a transferable skill. It's a innate trait that will then transfer to any aspect of your life, right? Whether you're doing a course or you're starting a new job or you have a goal to reach. It doesn't matter whether it's a financial fitness or a personal goal, right? If you're learning a
Mm.
language, it is a little bit, it goes beyond that because it becomes who you are.
Agree.
I think, yeah. So I think fitness teaches you much more than how you look or how you feel or how much you can lift, because you realize that all fit people are people who will show up even when they don't want to show up,
Mm.
right? So it's
Yeah.
more about saying, this is who I want to be, this is what I need to do to get there, and these are the non-negotiables. So I'm just going to do it.
Right. Just do it. Right.
You just have to. There's no other way. There is
Mhm.
really no other way.
So, as a wellness coach, do you have any, advice for aspiring coaches who are in the industry today?
Yes. I would say that a lot of people start out without any knowledge. So I would say if they wanted to do it, should get like a proper qualification, a certification, ideally something that is recognized across the country and maybe even across the world. A lot of them don't realize there's a lot of legal implications to this, like, giving out free advice on wellness. If there is any form of repercussion to it, you become legally liable, right? So you should
Mm.
be legally allowed to practice. So if someone is starting out as a wellness coach, it should not be just on your own, just stuff that you're reading and giving out. You have to be one qualified. That qualification, again, should be recognized. If you're practicing only in India, if you want people from outside, then it has to be internationally recognized, right?
Mhm.
It is not an easy space to be in, but then nothing is, to be very honest. It's like everyone, it's a very, very, very competitive space. So, and I think like many things, we look at only the top 10 and be like, oh, I want to be there. But a lot of
Mm.
people forget that there's a huge struggle to get there, right? And that is something that we must acknowledge and understand, that it's going to take time. You're not going to turn into a coach overnight. I've now been doing this very long. It's going to take time. It's not as pretty as it looks, right? And you must do it not because it's cool and not because you have done a certain way. You have to have the passion and drive to want to make a change in someone's life.
Mm.
And you have to be willing to do that over and over again. And I think the hardest part about being a wellness coach is that most times people don't want to do, they want to do it, but they won't do it, right? Like you said,
Mm.
like they're not motivated. Not everyone.
Mm.
It takes time to build these habits. It takes time.
Yeah.
It requires, that means if someone is with me, I have to reiterate this every day, and every time they don't do it, I have to pick them up and say, no, I
Mm.
got you. It is not, we are more like change managers, and if you can't handle stressful situations and you can't handle difficult people on a
Mm.
daily basis, this is not the profession to be in.
That's a very interesting perspective. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because you are literally guiding a person probably when they are at their lowest, and that means that you
hmm.
will bear the brunt of many things, and you have to be able to pick them up and make them believe in themselves that they can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And that goes beyond learning how to beyond what is macros and what is calories, right? It is a completely
Hmm.
genre. And unfortunately, like all my entire team has MSCs in nutrition and dietetics, and it is not something, no one teaches you how to be a coach. So we have an internal program every week that basically focuses on these things to build these skills, but it's a very hard job.
Hmm. I can understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been on the flip side as well before being a wellness coach. So do you have any word of advice for those who are just starting out on their wellness journey?
So when I started, like I said, the first time my back gave out, my son was 3 months old, but I only started this at 10 months. Why? Because for those 7 months, I tried all sorts of free stuff, and all these fat diets. Let me try this, let me try that. Now, someone said you should do this, someone said you should do that, and like this auntie said, and that
Mm.
person ate this. And I tried all that nonsense. And what I realized is that it was such a waste of time, because we think that this is something that we get and we know, but it is a profession. After studying so long, I realize it is a profession that is science based. It is exactly like if you wanted to have brain surgery, you don't have to figure it out on your own, right?
Mm.
You go to someone who's qualified. You want to build your house, you go to someone who's qualified. It's exactly like the difference between when you get your house done, you do it yourself, or I mean, if you're just trying to get by, to getting a really good interior designer to do it for you, right? Or if you try any of those examples. So, like when you try on your own, what happens is, like, if we go back to that example of math, right? I was
Mm.
trying multiple different things to see what works for me, but there was no
Mm.
plan in place. So I was trying a little bit of math, a little bit of geometry, a little bit of trigonometry, a little bit, but nothing is working. But what happens is, you pick a coach. That I would recommend that you pick a coach that you trust, any coach, wellness coach, whoever that you think you can trust and fits your sort of mindset, fits your personality, and go with them, because they obviously know how to do this. They've done
Mm.
it for others. They know how to do it. And exactly like, you'll exactly think of it like college or school. They take you from chapter one in a subject to the end till when you can give the exam. You're not trying to figure this on your own. Nobody goes and tries to do an MSc or a BSc or any of these courses by just looking at random YouTube videos.
Right,
It doesn't
right.
work like that. It starts with level one, introduction, two,
Yeah.
three, like, so it's a journey and a path. And the fastest way to get there is to have a guide
Mm.
or a coach, right? Exactly like Google Maps. You want to come meet me in office today, and I'll be like, hey, I'm in Bangalore. You're going to have a tough time finding me, right?
Mm.
But if I send you a Google location, you will get to me much faster. And if you take a detour or you get off your path,
Mm.
that guide tells you, hey, no, take a left and let's get you back on track, right? And that's
Yeah.
exactly what a coach does. And that is
Mm.
the value of a coach, to be able to get you to your goal first. So I would say, literally, don't waste time with things that don't work. And it doesn't have to be
Mm.
me as a coach. Like, pick any good coach, anyone. But having a guide and a coach will make a huge difference.
Nice. Okay. So my last question for you, what would be your fitness mantra?
Okay. My fitness mantra is that I will work out a minimum of 30 minutes a day,
Yeah.
motivated or not motivated. Yes.
Mhm.
And I try to divide my week into three strength, three cardio. So I get sort of an overall health benefit out of it. And I have this rule that um, I will not go more than 2 days without
Mm.
exercise. So what happens is, if you're not motivated, if you fall off track, if you have a rule in place, it anchors you back in. Say, okay,
Mm.
that's all I need to stick to. Okay, 2 days have passed. So even if I don't, I will work out on that third day, no matter what.
Right.
The idea is, fitness should serve us in terms of
Mm.
how does it make me healthier, live a better life, and live a longer life. So to give you an example, if you ask my son, I'm the only one who still carries him, and anyone says anything to him, he's like, no, 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 no. My mother will do it. She's the strongest. Huh? She, like, for everything, he's like, no, 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 no. My mother will carry that. My mother will do that. And it's amazing that he sees that also in a woman. And I find it,
Mm.
like, I'm happy that I can still lift him at his weight, like he's going to be 9, and that's like heavy. Will be
Mm.
over 35 kilos, so I can still lift him and carry him. And So, fitness is about making your everyday life better. And if it's not doing that for you, you need to change what you're doing.
Hmm. Great. It was lovely talking to you, Simran.
Same here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Thank
for having
you.
me.
Yes. Yes, thank you. It was lovely getting to know your journey.
Thank
And it's been great talking to you. Yes.
you. Great. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Have a good day ahead.
You too.